Hi, I'm John Kelly. I'm a personal injury attorney, and I'm going to do a 7-part series on vulnerable adults. This is an educational series that should guide you if you suspect that this is going on for you or someone that you love. I hope that it's helpful for you, and we'll start with Chapter 1, which is how vulnerable adults get hurt and the common pathways of abuse and neglect. In this first chapter, we're going to talk about how vulnerable adults are most commonly harmed in assisted living, nursing homes, and skilled nursing facilities. It would include group homes and memory care facilities. Understanding the common pathways sets the stage for everything else, from medical insight to legal strategy. Because these cases rarely start with a headline moment, more often, they start with a pattern, a quiet pattern, the kind that can be explained away until it can't be explained. Let's start with the big idea. In facility abuse and neglect cases, the injury is often not one bad day, it's a chain of missed care, missed supervision, missed escalation, and missed dignity. And when the chain gets long enough, something breaks. Skin, bones, lungs, kidneys, or life itself. So what are the most common pathways? One pathway is basic neglect, dressed up as natural decline. A resident loses weight, and the chart says poor appetite. They stop walking, and it's called deconditioning. They become confused, and it's blamed on dementia. They develop a wound, and someone shrugs and says, fragile skin. Sometimes decline is real. Aging is real. Disease is real. But when decline happens fast or in clusters, or when the same excuses are every time, you should look harder because neglect also has a pattern. Another pathway is falls, especially preventable falls. Falls happen. People are human. Gravity does not negotiate. But in care settings, a fall is often a symptom of a plan that wasn't followed. Think about the most common scenario. A resident needs help toileting. The call light goes unanswered. They try to go alone, and they fall. Or a resident needs 2-person assistance for transfers. Staffing is thin, someone tries it solo, and they fall. Or a resident is sedated, unsteady, and nobody increases supervision. They fall. A fall isn't automatically negligence, but the risk was known and precautions were written down and precautions were not done. That's where accountability starts to live. Another pathway is medication management or mismanagement. This includes the obvious: wrong medications given, wrong dose, missed doses. But the more common and more dangerous version is subtler: over-sedation and chemical restraint. A vulnerable adult becomes too much, too restless, too anxious, too confused, or too loud. Instead of adding staffing, the system just adds medication. The resident gets quieter, but quieter is not healthier. Over-sedation can lead to falls, aspiration, constipation, delirium, and a kind of slow disappearance from life. Families often describe it as they were themselves and then suddenly they weren't. Another pathway is infection, especially the UTI to sepsis cascade. It often starts with dehydration, poor hygiene, missed symptoms, and delayed escalation. A urinary tract infection can cause delirium. Delirium can cause falls, or the infection can spread and become sepsis. And sepsis can move like a wildfire through a frail body. In a well-run facility, changes get noticed early and acted on. In a poorly run one, changes get rationalized until the hospital is the only option left. Another pathway is aspiration and choking, especially in nursing homes and memory care facilities. Swallowing issues are common in frail adults. Stroke survivors and people with dementia often suffer from this too. If a person needs supervision at meals, diet modification, or swallow precautions, those aren't suggestions. They are safety equipment. When those precautions get ignored, aspiration pneumonia becomes the predictable result. Another pathway is pressure injuries, what most people call bedsores. Pressure injuries don't happen because a person is old. They happen because pressure is not relieved, skin is not checked, moisture is not managed, and nutrition is not supported, and wounds are not treated early. Yes, some wounds can develop even with good care, but deep pressure injuries often tell a story of time spent in one position, time spent wet, time spent unseen. Another pathway is violence, and this can be staff on resident abuse, physical, sexual, emotional. It can also be resident on resident violence, especially in memory care, where aggression can be a symptom of cognitive disease. Facilities sometimes pretend these categories don't exist, but families see it in bruising, fear, withdrawal, and sudden behavioral changes. And then there's elopement, wandering out. When someone with cognitive impairment leaves supervision, the danger multiplies quickly. Traffic, heat, cold, water, and falls are the simple terror of being lost. Elopement cases are among the most devastating because the harm can happen fast and because it usually means that basic systems failed. The doors, alarms, staff, attention, care planning, and response. Now let's bring this to human scale. Imagine an 82-year-old woman. Let's call her Miss Ramirez. She moves into assisted living because she needs help with meals and medication reminders. She's proud, she's independent. She tells her daughter, "I'm fine, don't worry." At first she feels fine, and then her daughter notices her mom's clothes are looser. She's tired, she seems a little snowed. When the daughter asks, the staff says, "She's just adjusting." 2 weeks later, Miss Ramirez falls. The facility says, "Oh, she insisted on walking without our help." At the hospital, the daughter learns her mom is dehydrated. Her blood pressure is low. She has a UTI, and she's on new sedating medication that wasn't discussed with the family. Was this just aging, or was it a chain of preventable failures? That's the question in these cases. If you're attorneys listening, this is where you start building the theme. Foreseeable risk, accepted resident, knowing needs, missed care, and predictable harm. If you're a family member listening, this is where you start trusting your instincts. If the story doesn't fit, don't force it to. Now that we've covered the common pathways, we need to talk about the settings themselves, because assisted living is not the same as skilled nursing, and a group home is not the same as memory care. The duty, staffing, and medical responsibilities shift with the setting. In the next chapter, we'll define and distinguish assisted living, nursing homes, and skilled nursing facilities, also group homes and memory care. And we'll talk about what these places promise and what they actually do and where the gaps usually hide. As I'm covering these topics, if you have questions regarding my content, or you have a family or loved one that you think may be dealing with these issues, please feel free to reach out to us. We're at the Kelly Law Team. Phone number is 602-283-4122.